fellow South Africans, I'm addressing you this evening.
All your years of paying tax, you helped us overcome our darkest hour. You, along with every other loyal taxpayer, helped build this nation. Thank you for every life you saved and for every risk you braved, for giving our future generation a healthy start. When you saw many of our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. Thank you for contributing to the important services our vulnerable communities rely on every day. To all taxpayers and traders, continue to pay your tax because it matters to millions of South Africans who depend on it. Your tax matters.
Beautiful morning. I welcome you to our Youth Month seminar aimed at promoting sustainable livelihood and resilience of young people for a better tomorrow to help the youth, of course, to comply with their tax obligations. As we are all aware that the month of June has been declared as Youth Month, and you can see I'm a very young person, and you would see with the specialists and the guests that we have, some of them or mostly of them are young people who have been given the honor to use this webinar as part of celebration of Youth Month and to give young people an opportunity to showcase their talents and to learn a thing or two, of course, about tax. My name is Sipho Matebula, and I'll be your host for today and your program director. I'm an employee from SARS and a member of the SARS Junior Board. One of the key mandates of the SARS Junior Board is to deliberate on the SARS vision inputs to enrich the broader strategic conversation and accelerate positive and meaningful change. I invite you today to our webinar under the theme, Targeting the Youth, Your Tax Matters. This is a collaborative effort between SARS, SEDA, and the National Treasury. It is an initiative that is designed to provide us with simplified knowledge on the different tax types, the importance of tax, SARS offerings, and how tax collection assists the state to meet its socio-economic objectives. We invite you today to be our tax ambassadors and to use this knowledge to educate your peers, society at large, and to play an active role in ensuring voluntary compliance to your tax affairs. I mean, it is important to ensure that before you flex your profits, make sure you pay the SARS man. You know, better to do it like that so you can flex in peace and happiness. I'd like to thank you once again for being present on this call and for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this very important webinar and taking an active role in changing the perception about tax affairs. You are invited to use our chat box to air your views on the presentation, raise questions, comments, and of course, any compliments you want to give. And you are more than welcome to raise any other concerns that you could have on our chat box. These comments will, of course, be responded to by a panel of our specialists, followed by a Q&A at a later stage. Also, use our hashtag #YourTaxMatters on our different social media platforms so we can take the conversation further. I remind you that please mute your mics and switch off your cameras for the duration of the session. And that I just want to let you know something maybe not so important, but important. I'm developing a bit of a flu. So in the event you hear me sneeze or cough, please understand that I'm not doing it on purpose, but I'm trying to recover. Thank you so much. And in the event that it does happen that you leave our session earlier than expected because you have other important business to follow, please complete our survey, which will assist us to provide you with a service. Our first item will be a very young person, dynamic and very well educated, who will be telling us, giving us our welcome address and giving us the purpose of today. I invite Millicent Khakane to give us her opening remarks. Millicent Khakane joined SARS in 2014 as a graduate trainee in audit and is currently an operational specialist in specialized audit with over 8 years of experience. She previously worked as a tax compliance officer in the private sector before joining SARS. Millicent holds various qualifications, including a master's degree in South African and international taxation from Northwest University. She also has a postgraduate diploma in financial planning from the University of the Free State and a BCom degree and honors degree in accounting from the University of Johannesburg. Millicent Khakane, I give you the stage.
Thank you, Sipho. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the change makers and leaders of tomorrow. Firstly, I'd like to thank our partners, SARS in collaboration with National Treasury and CEDA, for this amazing initiative. This webinar serves to achieve some of our strategic objectives, including making it easy and simple for taxpayers to comply by creating awareness, clarity, and certainty through using modernized systems to provide seamless online digital services. The youth of South Africa, today is all about you. Currently in South Africa, 35.3% of the population is unemployed, and the youth makes up 66.5% of that statistic. As the youth, we need to start finding ways of changing the current status quo. And as the theme of today suggests, we need to understand that even though the odds may be against us, we still need to forge resilience and pursue opportunities, because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. We would also like to call upon other departments and organizations to join us and partner to help combat the youth crisis. We are here to empower the youth. And according to Benjamin Franklin, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. As you maneuver your way through life, remember that your tax matters will always matter. To those pursuing business, knowledge is power. Our hope is that you find this session useful and that you will be able to implement all that you have learned today in the day-to-day running of your current and future business. Thank you.
Thank you, Millicent, for a one economy and, of course, being good business people. As we proceed with our program for today, I'd like to invite Yamkela to come and talk to us. However, we are all reminded that as the month of June is declared as Youth Month, we are reminded of our important role as young people, as I've said, in uplifting the economy and being good business people. It is therefore no mistake that you find yourself present in this session today, as there is no better time than today to gain new knowledge that can help you to take your business to greater heights. Yamkela Somi will now come on the stage and give us the main presentation for today. Yamkela Somi holds a national diploma in management from Nelson Mandela University. He joined SARS in 2000 and pay-as-you-earn queries. In 2017, he was hired as a permanent team member in campaigns within Taxpayer Engagement Division. Yamkela has assisted in the development of educational materials and the training of SARS staff. He currently works as a content developer for taxpayer and trader education. Yamkela, I welcome you to the stage.
Thank you, Program Director, for the introduction. And a very good morning to my fellow youth who has made time to be part of today's engagement. You are all welcome. As we are aware of the fact that the last 2 years have been indisputably the most challenging for the youth, where we have dealt with the fallout of the pandemic and its associated lockdowns, which have resulted in numerous economic challenges. Now, as we are still within the Youth Month, permit me to share simplified tax knowledge with you today, which I believe will assist you to comply with your tax obligations in a way that is easily understandable, as well as to empower you as the youth, your current businesses, and which will also support you in decision-making for your future business plans, as well as your individual plans. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the purpose of today's presentation, we are aimed at providing information in this format, which is easily understandable and which is also intended to make provisions of the legislation more accessible. And it is also very important to note that the information that is contained in this presentation has got no binding legal effect and the relevant legislation must be consulted in the event of any doubt as to the meaning or application of any provisions within the presentation. Now, before we know and understand what our legal tax obligations are, it is also very vital that we understand why are we paying taxes, or where does the taxes that SARS administer and collect go to? Well, to answer that question, the South African government has got a social responsibility towards its citizens, and then this social responsibility can only be fulfilled if the necessary taxes have been paid by the people earning taxable income in this country. Now, the South African government is mandated to provide the basic services to the citizens of South Africa. Now, these basic services will include education services, healthcare services, welfare, which comprises of your child grants, old age pensions, physical disability grants. Also include policing services and so many more. And every citizen enjoys the benefits of one or other of these government basic services. And it is also very important that we define what income tax is. Income tax is the normal tax that is paid on your taxable income. And on the current slides are examples of amounts an individual may receive and from which taxable income is determined. We've got an example of your employment income, which comprises of your salaries, bonuses, overtime, and so many more. Also investment income, which will comprise of your local and foreign interest, local and foreign dividends as well. Also business income from trade or renting of fixed property. And also the most popular for the youth these days, which is your social media income or your influencer income, which may be derived from YouTube, from blogs, TikTok, etc. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as part of the SARS strategic vision for 2020-2024, which comprises of 9 strategic objectives, for the purpose of today's presentation, I will talk to strategic objective number 1, strategic objective number 2, and number 6. Strategic objective number 1 and 2, which is to provide clarity and certainty to the taxpayers of their tax obligations, and also to make it easy for the taxpayers to comply with their legal obligations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in as much as you have obligations as a taxpayer, you also have rights. Now, our latest service charter, which is a document that outlines your rights and your responsibilities as well as a taxpayer, is available on the SARS website. So you can have access to that at any time. Now we're going to have a look into what we call a value chain across these 3 tax types, which is income tax, pay-as-you-earn, and the value-added tax. Now, the value chain is a process that starts from the registration of the taxpayer. After the registration is successful, then the taxpayer will be required to declare or submit annual income tax returns. After the declaration or the returns have been submitted, the taxpayer may get a refund or will be required to make payments over to SARS. And then the last part of the value chain consists of deregistration. Now, for the purpose of the current slide, we will look into an individual on an income tax perspective. Now, an individual would register for an income tax through the following channels: e-filing, which is an online service, as well as SARS mobile app. And also an employer can register the individual for the purposes of income tax through e-filing or easy-file employer program. Now, once the individual is registered for the purposes of income tax, as I've mentioned, they will be required to declare or submit an income tax return, which is called an ITR 12. And this tax return can be requested and submitted through e-filing as well as SARS mobile app. And also there is a due date for the submission of the said tax return, which is then usually announced by the SARS Commissioner every year before the commencement of filing season. And as I've mentioned, that it may result in a situation where the individuals receive refunds from SARS or they have to pay back the tax to SARS. And we also have got another type of payment and submission that we call provisional tax, which is submitted through a form called an IRP6. Provisional tax has got 3 payments that are required. The first payment and return is required within 6 months from the beginning of the year of assessment. And then the second payment and the return will be required on or before the last day of the year of assessment for that individual. And then thirdly, we've got a top-up payment or a final payment, which is also optional, which is then required within 7 months after the year of assessment, depending on the financial year end. And then the last part of the value chain on an individual for income tax purposes is the deregistration of the income tax for that individual, which may be initiated by SARS, seeing that there is no activity happening on the individual's income tax account. Then SARS can opt to deregister that individual. Or the individual may request to SARS in writing to be taken off the income tax register. Also, we have a look on income tax on the basis of a company. A company would be registered through the Company's Intellectual Property Commission, which is also known as CIPC. Now, upon the registration with CIPC, a company would also be automatically registered with SARS and obtain an income tax reference number, which is a 10 numerical character number, which begins with a number 9. After having successfully registered with CIPC and SARS, then the company will be required to submit or declare its income on a form which is called an ITR 14. And this tax return is due or is required within 12 months after the company's financial year end. And as I've mentioned on the previous slide about provisional tax, it is also applicable to companies. And also the last part now, which is deregistration, will be initiated first with CIPC, meaning if you want to deregister for the purposes of income tax with SARS, you must first deregister the company with CIPC. And therefore you will be required to provide proof that the company is indeed deregistered with CIPC. And therefore you can pursue the deregistration process with SARS in writing. Another type of tax that we have a look into today is called pay as you earn or PAYE, which is then a tax type that is registered for by employers. And those employers will be employers who have got employees which are earning above the current tax threshold for the 2023 tax year, which is 7,604 rands per month, meaning then a tax will be deducted on that specific employee or individual. Now, the employer will only register for this tax type or for this type of tax if there is any tax to be deducted, and they are required to do so within 21 days of becoming such an employer. And the registration of this tax type can be done on SARS e-filing on a form that is called Registration, Amendments and Verification Form, which is also known as the RAV01. Now, after having registered for this tax type, the employer will be allocated with a 10 numerical character number, which begins with a number 7. That will be then the employer's pay-as-you-earn number. After having successfully registered, the employer will be required to declare or submit monthly returns, which are also known as EMP 201. And these returns must be submitted on the 7th of every month. And it is very important that if the 7th of that specific month falls on a public holiday or on a weekend, then the return must be submitted on the last business day of that specific week, as well as the payment. And we also have got what we call an EMP 501 for the purposes of payroll for the employer. On the EMP 501, we have got a biannual reconciliation, which is then for the first 6 months, which is from the 1st of March until the end of August. And this annual reconciliation is required at the end of October, meaning the employer needs to ensure that they have declared all the payroll information and is validated and accepted by SARS. And we've also got a final reconciliation, which is then due at the end of May as well, which will then comprise of all the financial information for the financial year or for the year of assessment. Now, should an employer wishes to deregister for this type of tax, they will do so through a filing platform via SARS registered details and then registration maintenance, and then they can send the request through to SARS to deregister the tax type. Alternatively, they can deregister with SARS for the purposes of pay as you earn via an appointment, and they will be required to complete a form that is called EMP 123E form. And it is also very important, ladies and gentlemen, to note that SARS will not process the deregistration process if you have got any outstanding returns or any outstanding debt with SARS, meaning you need to be tax compliant for SARS to actually pursue your deregistration request. Another third type of tax that we have a look into today is called the value added tax, or the VAT or VAT, which is then registered into 2 categories by the vendors. A vendor can voluntarily register if they've got taxable supplies, which is at least over 50,000 rands. And they can do compulsory registration if the taxable supplies are at least 1 million and above. Now, after having registered and obtained a VAT number, which is also a 10 numerical character number, which begins with the number 4, then the vendor will have an obligation or will be required to declare or submit a form which is called a VAT 201, which will comprise of financial information on input and output. And for those vendors that are submitting this tax return manually, they should do so on or before the 25th of the month. And also for those that are filing online, they need to declare or submit on or before the last business day of the month, as well as the payment. Now, should a vendor wish to deregister for VAT purposes, they can also do so in writing to SARS by using a form which is called a VAT 123E. And obviously, we will require them to make an appointment with the SARS branch, or they can also do so on e-filing via SARS registration maintenance. Now, we have a look at the comparison between a juristic person and a natural person. And now in this case, it's a company versus an individual. Now we have a look on how we calculate a tax on the company side, as well as on the individual side. Firstly, we will have a look on the company, where we will take all the total income of the company for the year of assessment, and then we minus all the business related expenses, and then we will get to either a profit or a loss for that company. And we will tax that company either at a rate of 28% for those companies that have got a financial year end between 1st April 2022 we will take the total income of the individual
Yamkela, are you still there? You seem to be muted. Yamkela, can you please unmute?
Apologies about.
Can you please unmute?
Yes, I'm unmuted. Apologies about that. There was a bit of a disconnection from my side.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. On the individual side now, we will take the total income of that individual and then minus all the allowable deductions and expenses, and then we will derive at a taxable income. And once we get to the taxable income, then we will use the published tax tables, which are available on the SARS website. Now we're going to have a look on rates of tax on an individual side as well as the company side. On the current slide, it's the rates for individual and special trust for the current year.
We are unable to see your presentation. Can you please flight it again? Thank you.
Thank you.
I can see it on my side. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Program Director. On the current slide, we have got rates for individuals as well as trust for the current year of assessment, which is 2023. For example, if you have a look on the first row, there's a salary range there from R1 to 226,000 rands. And then if the employee is earning an amount between R1 and 226,000 rands, then a rate of 18% will be utilized in determining the tax required from this employee. And it is also very important to note that for any other type of a trust, we will use a flat rate of 45% to calculate the taxable income. Now we have a look at what we call individual tax threshold as well as tax rebates. A threshold is basically a minimum amount where tax is required to be deducted. And it goes by age ranges and depends on which financial year or year of assessment. If we have a look on the first example there, for a person that is below the age of 65, they need to at least earn above 91,250 for the year so that tax can be deducted from there. And then the second range, which is from age 65 to 74, and then the tax threshold on that individual is 141,250, meaning if they are earning below that amount, then there will not be any pay-as-you-earn deducted from that individual. And also we have a look at what we call rebates. Rebates are basically a tax discount that an individual is entitled to depending on their age. An example here, a person that is under the age of 65 years will be entitled to a rebate of 16,425 rands, and a person that is between 65 years to 74 will be entitled to the primary rebate, which is the 16,425, and will be entitled to a secondary rebate of 9,000 rands. As well as the person that is over 75 years will be entitled to all three rebates, which is primary, secondary, and a tertiary rebate. And as I've mentioned on the previous slide about the company tax rates, 28% will be used for the companies with the year of assessment ending on any date between 1 April 2022 and 30 March 2023. and the adjusted rate of 27% for those companies with the years of assessment ending on or after 31st March 2023. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the very interesting part of this presentation, which is then your tax incentives, which were introduced by the National Treasury to ensure that you easily comply with your tax obligations. The first incentive that we will have a look into is called an employment tax incentive, which was part of the National Development Plan in 2013, and then it came into effect from the 1st of January 2014, and it was recently extended to 28 February 2029 on the current year's budget speech. Now, this incentive is aimed at encouraging the employers to hire young work seekers, which is your youth, and also the incentive applies to qualifying employees which were employed on or after the 1st of October 2013 by eligible employers. And also the payment of this incentive is enjoyed by those eligible employers and also assist them to reduce their payroll liability for the specific month. And they may claim the incentive provided that they meet the minimum requirements as stipulated on the Employment Tax Incentive Act. And also very important to know that eligible employer may claim this incentive for a maximum of 24 months per qualified employee. Now, this is a demonstration on the last point to say that the employer can claim for a maximum of at least 24 months for each qualifying employee. Now, on the table, we will have a look on the first 12 months on how we calculate ETI based on the remuneration of that employee. On the first column, we will see there under monthly remuneration that there is a remuneration range from 0 to 1,999 rands, meaning if the employee earns any amount between that range for the month, then we will say 50% of that amount calculated as ETI, meaning then the payroll of the employer will be further reduced by that amount that is calculated. And then the second range is from 2,000 rands to 4,499 rands. And then on that range, we will use the fixed 1,000 rands as ETI calculated for each qualifying employee. And also the third range is between 4,500 rands to 6,499 rands. Then if the employee has got a remuneration of an amount between that range, we will apply then the formula. And if you will notice at the bottom of the table that it is up to 6,500 rands. And then if the employee is earning above that, that means then they will not qualify for the ETI incentive. And also for the second 12 months, as I've mentioned that the employer can claim for a maximum of 24 months. If you will notice on the second 12 months, the rates that are applied have been adjusted a bit. For example, on the range of 0 to 1,999, we will say 25% of whatever amount that is within the range, which will be calculated as ETI. And on the second range, instead of using the 1,000 rands, we use 500 rands. As well as on the formula, where we substitute B, instead of using 0.5, we will then use 0.25, meaning then your claim or your benefit will decrease for the second 12 months. Another incentive, which is also very interesting that we have a look into today, is called Small Business Corporation. Well, Small Business Corporation is not another type of business entity, and it is just merely a tax incentive. And for the qualifying criteria on this incentive, we say that not more than 20% of the revenue may consist of investment income. This means that if you have got investments made and then you're receiving interest, the amount of that interest must not exceed 20% of your revenue to qualify for the Small Business Corporation incentive. And we further say that not more than 20% of income from rendering a personal service. And the criteria further goes to say that this incentive is not applicable to sole proprietors, not applicable to partnerships and trusts, but it is merely applicable to cooperatives and private companies. And also we say that if you are a shareholder, you don't need to be a juristic person. You must be a natural person, which is then an individual if you are a shareholder. And also we say that if you are a shareholder, you must be a shareholder for the entire year. And it is also very important that if you are a member on a CC, or if you are a director of a private company, then you need to deregister from that company or the CC before you get into a new venture. And the criteria further goes to say that if you are a shareholder, you must not have any interest in any other company, which will include your dormant companies, shelf companies, 9 trading companies. And this excludes listed companies and companies that are exempt from paying tax. And the last part of the criteria is that the gross income must not exceed 20 million for the year of assessment. And also, let's say if you've traded less than 12 months for the year of assessment, then we will prorate the amount. And we're not looking into taxable income, but it is only based on the gross income of their small business. And the following are the rates that are applicable to a company that qualifies for the Small Business Corporation Incentive. And these rates, ladies and gentlemen, have not changed for the last 5 years. They've been the same. And it is very important to note that there is no separate application for this specific incentive, but a small business that is qualifying will be determined on the form that is called an ITR 14, which is required from a small business to submit on a yearly basis, where there is a wizard with questions that will customize or that will determine the fact that you do qualify for this Small Business Corporation Incentive. And another incentive that we have a look into, which is also very interesting, is called turnover tax, which is a single tax system that taxes turnover and not profit. Turnover tax is optional to businesses with a turnover of 1 million rands or less for the year of assessment. And once you are registered for turnover tax, you will replace the need to account for income tax, capital gains tax, dividends tax, and value-added tax, unless then you opt to be on the VAT system or you remain on the VAT system. And here we say that a micro business will register for turnover tax before the beginning of the year of assessment or such at a later date during the year of assessment. Or the micro business can also register within 2 months from the date of commencement of the business activities. Now, this is in a case where the business activities have commenced during the year of assessment. And on the current slide, it's the questions that will assist you in determining whether you belong on the turnover tax register or not. Is record keeping too much of a burden, or is it too expensive for you? Is your current tax system technically too difficult to comply with? Or is it costly to hire a tax practitioner to meet the requirements of the current tax system? And it is very important to note that if your business is already operating on an assessed loss or is making a loss, it is best for you to remain on the current tax system that you are in and not move over to turnover tax. And the following are the rates for turnover tax, which also have not changed in the past few years, which have remained the same. On the current slide, it's a comparison on how tax is calculated in comparing on these natures of entity, which is the sole proprietor, a company, and also a company that is qualifying for the incentive of small business corporation, as well as turnover tax. And if you would notice, ladies and gentlemen, on this example, the last two, which is a company which is qualifying for the incentive of small business corporation or turnover tax, they will pay far much less tax as compared to a normal company and a sole proprietor. And ladies and gentlemen, once more, it is very important to note that if you need more information on these incentives that have been presented today, you can also visit the SARS YouTube channel, which is SARS TV, which comprises of a series of webinars with the information provided today and more, and also has got how-to videos on how you can transact and communicate with SARS. Another vital or very important aspect that we discussed today is compliance. At SARS, for you to become compliant, there is a certain criteria that one has to meet, which is firstly, on registration or registration details, you need to ensure that you are registered and the tax type is active for any tax type that you might or that you are required to register for. Also, once you have registered, there must be no outstanding returns after their filing due dates, meaning you need to file on or before the due dates for all the tax types you are registered for. And also, if there's any supporting documents outstanding, you need to ensure that all those required documents are submitted to SARS for you to be recorded as compliant. And also, there must be no outstanding tax debt on any tax type. Otherwise, if you do have an outstanding debt on any tax type, you need to ensure that that debt is under an installment agreement or a payment arrangement. And payment arrangements can be requested through SARS e-filing platform, as well as the MOBI app for individuals. Very important, ladies and gentlemen, also as part of our 9 strategic objectives, we've got strategic objective number 6, which is also to streamline our digital and online services. Here we've got digital platforms that are available or that we provide to a registered company and a trust. We have got the e-filing platform, and as well as the SARS online query system, which has been introduced on the last 2 years by SARS, which is to enable communication between SARS and its taxpayers without the effort of having to visit a SARS branch. Now, e-filing has got various functionalities that one can utilize, which consists of the registration of employees by the employer, requesting tax compliance status or tax clearance certificate, registering a new tax product. On e-filing, you can also update your registered details. You can submit tax returns, making payments and payment allocations. As well as on the SARS online query system, you can register a representative, you can upload supporting documents, request tax compliance status, make payments and allocations, and make an online booking. And also the new functionality that has been recently introduced is the online trust registration. And for the purposes of individuals or sole proprietors and partnerships, we also have got digital platforms available for them to utilize in communicating with SARS, which is SARS e-filing, which I've mentioned in the previous slide, and also the SARS online query system, as well as the SARS MOBI app, which was introduced by SARS in 2019 filing season, which also has got functionalities like registering for the tax number for the first time, requesting a notice of registration for those who are already registered for tax, submitting tax returns, making payments, requesting payment arrangements, as I've mentioned, requesting tax compliance status, updating registered details, and making online bookings. And lastly, the most important part, which is record keeping, which will assist you in the administration of your tax matters. It is very essential because it will enable you to claim your actual expenses which have incurred. And also, if you don't have proper record keeping, the expenses may be overlooked unless you record them at the time that they are incurred. Also enables you to complete your tax returns accurately. And it is very important to note that all the documents must be kept for a period of 5 years from the date of submission of the return. Once again, a friendly reminder to our youth that has attended today's session. We urge you to go digital. As I've mentioned, that our strategic objective number 6 says that we want to streamline our digitals and online services. So it is very important to remember that we have made it easy for you. And as the youth, please utilize the technology and go digital. And also you can visit us on our social media platforms, which is LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And for more information on the SMME information, you can visit the SMME webpage on the SARS website, as well as the SARS YouTube channel, as I've mentioned. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much, and over to you, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Mr. Somi, for the wonderful presentation. Colleagues, as we might have noticed, there was a break in transmission, and I'd like to sincerely apologize, as we all know that sometimes in these virtual platforms, technology and network becomes a problem. We sincerely apologize, as we are keen on giving you an excellent service, not only through our webinar, but also through our service offerings and different channels. Colleagues, I would also like to acknowledge and thank our colleagues from the Disability Help Desk who have given us interpreters to assist to ensure that our webinar is inclusive, not only to those who would call normal, but also to those who are living with a disability. So I'd like to sincerely send a word of appreciation from us for being present and assisting us today. As we have been made aware that our taxes are very important and the state needs the revenue from the taxes to be able to do its job. We've been reminded that our taxes enable us as a state to be able to fund social and economic projects and to also provide public goods and services such as schools, universities, hospital, clinics, roads, as well as fund defense and security missions. Also, it goes without saying that your tax is reinvested into the economy to create more developmental and business opportunity. I also see that the chat box is buzzing with comments and questions on the presentation that has just been offered. One of the comments that stood out for me is that, can someone under the age of 18 years old register as a taxpayer, assuming that he or she is running a profitable business by age of 15, for instance? This was an interesting question, although it has been responded to that, yes, indeed, a minor can also register for tax. However, they need the ID of their parent or guardian. Something that I didn't know. I even work for SARS, but I didn't know. I mean, as I said, that today is an opportunity of learning for all of us. I encourage you further to use the different SARS, National Treasury, and CEDA service channels for also raising questions, educating, and getting into contact with us. I also remind you one more time that in the event that you have other very serious business to go to, please complete the survey upon your exit. And let's not forget to use the hashtag #YourTaxMatters on our different social media platforms to take the conversations further. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are proceeding with our program, I'd like to invite to the stage Thulane Mashiane from CEDA to offer us a presentation on their service offerings as an entity. Thulane Mashiane is a business advisor for the Small Enterprise Development Agency, commonly known as CEDA. In a current position, she performs roles related SMMEs to drive. In her previous roles, she has contributed to development as an incubation practitioner in the private sector, as well as a CEDA project specialist in the area of technology incubation, thus leading national programs such as CFERI and the CIP. She currently holds a BTech degree in Rural Development and Extension. Thulana, I give you the stage. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues from the South African Revenue Services. Good morning to colleagues from National Treasury and colleagues from the network, all are acknowledged. A special good morning to our youth that are attending this seminar, as well as all other stakeholders. As mentioned, my name is Thulana Mashiane from the Small Enterprise Development Agency. I currently sit at the Excluding branch, which is in Gauteng, but I'm here representing the national portfolio. I'm speaking to you this morning at an era where SMMEs are becoming recognized as the engine of the economy. I'm also speaking to you in an era whereby young people, women, and people with disability are given the platform to participate in the economy in a meaningful manner. So I'm going to just give you a rounded presentation on what SEDA does on a daily basis, the programs that are offered at SEDA, so that you can position yourself better in the day-to-day activities of the economy through SMMEs better by accessing services through the Small Enterprise Development Agency, its networks, as well as all other stakeholders that play a role in the business sector. The Small Enterprise Development Agency, we are an agency of the Department of Small Business Development. Our mandate is fetched from there. We were established through the enactment of the National Small Business Act of 1996. As amended and incorporated Nzika Enterprise Promotion Agency. Those are from the yesteryears, such as ourselves, that are not youth like yourselves, would know Nzika. The National Manufacturing Advice Center Trust, NAMEC Trust, and the Community Public-Private Partnership Program. These were all amalgamated into the Small Enterprise Development Agency. We strive to be a center of excellence for small enterprise development in South Africa. And our main goal and objective is to develop, support, and promote small enterprises to ensure their growth, sustainability, in coordination and partnership with other role players. It is also to ensure that the small enterprise sector grows and increases its contribution to sustainable and equitable social and economic development, employment, and wealth creation. We are made up of, from a SEDA perspective, we've got the SEDA National Office, which is based in Pretoria, the SEDA Provincial Office, which is based in Bram Park. We've got the Tshwane branch, the Johannesburg branch, the Ekurhuleni branch, with also 5 co-locations in the Tshwane region. We've got 15 incubation centers also based in Gauteng. Just to give you a picture of the network and how it goes by just giving you an example of one region, which is Gauteng. SEDA branches provide offerings that assist businesses in various phases of their life cycle. So in every life cycle of a business, there's the start, the growth phase, and the expansion phase. We cover all phases, and our target market is from thinking about a business to operating a business and all the way to expansion. So in the first phase, which is, we call it the SEDA Business Talk, the offerings focus on clients who want information on starting a business. The assistance that is typically provided, it's not limited to only the 3, but typically is business advice and information, small enterprise training, as well as business registration. The second offering is for businesses who want information. The second offering or tier of offering is for business or clients who want skills to sustain and strengthen their existing businesses. There, the assistance that is provided is capacity building systems, mentorship, tender advice or procurement advice, export readiness, as well as franchising. Just to note, franchising is not only when you want to buy a franchise, but we can also capacitate to build your business in a way that it is able to franchise. So it's all aspects of franchising. And then we've got the third tier of offerings, which focuses on clients who want to grow their businesses and expand nationally and internationally. Typically, the assistance provided in that third tier is business systems development, cooperative support, as well as development of growth strategies for that business. Important to note as well is that we assist SMMEs with access to markets nationally and internationally. We do that through export training, export development, as well as giving access to clients to participate in activities such as endeavors, such as exhibitions, both nationally and internationally, so that they are able to position their businesses to get new customers outside of the customer base that they are currently servicing. Now, SEDA has various divisions, and the two main divisions that interact with clients are the Enterprise Development Division, which is your branch network that covers the work that I've just presented earlier. We also have a SEDA Technology Program, which is another division. And in that division, there's three main categories of delivery that are used to give access to small businesses. The first one is incubation, whereby we set up and ensure productive incubators. We fund the incubators, establishing sustainable, so that they're able to establish sustainable businesses in their areas of operation. STP currently funds and directly integrates efforts with incubators in South Africa. STP is also a key role player in the incubation space in Africa and globally, integrating best practice from all over the globe in the South African incubators. It is important to note as well that they exist all over the country, and there's a big target that needs to be met. We are currently sitting at about 120 incubators, but as per the National Development Plan and the small business mandate or the department's mandate, it is critical that this country needs about 250. So we've got a shortfall of about 130 incubators that need to be plugged into society, the South African society, to assist SMMEs to be productive and to grow. In the incubation offering, there are three main programs. The first one is technology business incubators. Those are incubators that you would normally find in industrial areas, in the townships, and all other areas, but they are more technology business oriented. They would typically have machinery and software and all other side of technology that a business would normally need to employ in order to produce a product or to produce a service. For instance, we've got one in Soshanguve. It focuses on printing and manufacturing. If you want to manufacture toilet paper and you don't have the machinery, you are able to be enrolled in the incubator and be able to produce a toilet paper. If you want to do printing, there's also printing machinery. You are able to print flyers and business cards on behalf of your clients. That is the support that is given to SMME enrolled in the incubators so that they're able to participate in the market with little technology available directly to them. We've also got a program called CFERI, Center for Entrepreneurship and Rapid Incubators. These are in the higher learning institutions, your TVET colleges, your universities of technologies, as well as universities. Their main role is to deal with learners in those institutions, change their mindset, not to seek for jobs, so that when they graduate, they are able to participate in the economy as job creators for themselves and the communities from which they come. And it is also very critical also to note that community may have access to these CFIRs, and that if you find yourself to be a learner with a CFRI center in your institution of learning, you need to use the services of the CFRI, because as you might have noticed, and I'm sure that you have noticed, the job market has narrowed. It means that the more graduates we have, the more unemployed, educated people we have. It warrants us as young people, it warrants us as society to create a culture of SMMEs. So all in all, the incubation aims to provide access to facilities, machinery, and connectivity. So you'll find that in the CFRI Center, the cohort or the people that are in the center are able to have access to Wi-Fi, to a boardroom in which they can sit with a client and have a meeting, access to coffee facilities that they would otherwise pay for in a coffee shop, which is less formal and less professional. So this is just to harness. Incubation is all about harnessing SMMEs so that they become successful and cushion the blow that comes with the expense of startups. The second is quality management. It also sits with the SEDA technology program. It's aimed at ensuring that small businesses have access to quality control and assessment processes and provides training and access to accreditation and certification. The focus there is on standards. It is critical to understand the standards of each industry that you want to participate in. And this division is there to give you access to standards, because standards are paid for, they are not free. And you need to have a quality management system in order to meet those standards. There's a criteria that you need to meet in order to be standardized. We also have partnerships with SABS as a partner of STP. So if you've got a product that needs SABS approval, we'll take you through there. QMS design and implementation, we also do internally under the STP. And then ISO accreditations is just an example of the standards that we cover. Technology transfer is the third component of the small SEDA technology program, I beg your pardon. And it ensures that new technologies are made available to all corners of the country, and it educates SMMEs about the use and integration of technology into their business. So that focuses on technology trainings, technology transfer fund. The call is open. I'm going to expand that on that a bit later in the presentation. And then access to tooling and software. So, you're young people, you will find this easier than most of our older cohort who would normally ask you to download and send to them. So what you will do, if you're interested in this Technology Transfer Assistance Fund, we'll go to www.seda.org.za, and as you open the page, on the body of the first page, you will see a picture as the one reflected on the screen, invitation for applications. It is important to note that the closing date for this call is the 1st of July, 2022. So you will also see, but I will just give you a bit of encouragement to, as to what you will see there. You will see this as well. It says that the Department of Small Business Development and its agency, SEDA and SEPA, has an objective to support SMMEs and cooperatives to participate in the mainstream economy. Therefore, SEDA is inviting SMMEs and cooperatives in the following sectors to apply: manufacturing, automotive services. Digital technology is broken down into the Internet of Things, augmented reality, simulation, additive manufacturing, system integration, cloud computing, autonomous systems, cybersecurity, big data analytics. And then the scope has been opened to the reality of our country, and has opened for personal care. That's your people in the hair industry, beauty salons, beauties. It's also been opened for them. The creative industries, the bulk paper industries, industrial garden services, household services, laundry and dry cleaning. There are, however, exclusions to the fund that need to be noted. Sectors that are not supported are retail and wholesale, all types of consulting services, tobacco and alcohol. It's important also to note there's other sin industries that are not covered, such as the sex trade, as well as the industries that are related to gambling. So they also form part of that. The truck and vehicles logistics is also not covered. As I've mentioned, the closing date is Friday, the 1st of July, 2022. You will see please download the application form and checklist. You will need to download, check the checklist and tick every box. In the event that you have issues with both of these forms or the documents that need to be attached, please feel free to visit your nearest SEDA office. They will assist you. The benefit of using SEDA services is that you get proper diagnosis of your business. So you don't just walk in and say, I want or I need. Instead, a proper diagnostic process will be undertaken, and other things for your business to advance to a certain level will be covered by the experienced business advisors and all other staff in those branches. You will get tailored solutions for specific problems in your business. So with the problems that you have, you will not get just any solution. It will be tailored for your business, based on your business needs and problems. Exposure to markets nationally and internationally, as I've mentioned before. We look at getting exposure into national markets and international markets. We do exhibitions. We do also trade fairs, and we can take you overseas or to other parts of the continent or even nationally for you to go and access those markets. The interventions are also based on business needs and growth needs. So the main thing is that your business needs to grow, and your business has needs, and those needs need to be attended to. And there's various interventions. If you go on the website or you visit your branch, you will get to know of the bouquet that is available. Anything and everything under the sun that is needed on your business and that is rational and the timing is right for it to be done in your business can be done, as long as it is not in the context of sin activities. So our contact details I've put up only for the SEDA National Office because we've got a wide network. Otherwise, then we will present all day. So the SEDA National Office is at Hatfield, but please do not visit the national office. The telephone number for the national office is 012-441-1000, and also 8603-663-7867. All of this information will be available at a later stage, but you can also go to www.seda.org.za. You'll be able to pull up this information. On that website as well, you will be able to pull on the contact us link, you'll be able to pull the different provincial offices, as well as the branches that are available in those provinces, their contact details, as well as their addresses. It is imperative that we start realizing the importance of SMMEs in this country. We need it for the healthcare sector, the agricultural sector. We need it for the manufacturing sector. We need people who will participate. We will need people who will come up with technology and innovation to advance this country. Now, as I depart, I'm going to play you a video of the SEDA services that are available. The video is going to paint a picture of the people that we work with on a daily basis. It will give you a picture of where you can plug yourselves in these various industries that we cover. I thank you so much and have a good day.
The Small Enterprise Development Agency, better known as SEDA, supports and promotes small enterprises to ensure their growth and sustainability. The agency's non-financial services are provided in collaboration and partnership with other stakeholders that consist of 72 incubation centers and is made possible through the SEDA network of 9 provincial offices and 53 branches nationwide. SEDA's goal is to ensure the growth of the small enterprise sector in order to increase its contribution to sustainable and equitable social and economic development, employment, and wealth creation. The services to entrepreneurs and cooperatives include access to information and advice, business development, training and mentoring, sector-specific incubation and technology transfer, as well as development programs. SEDA offers the following programs and services: SEDA Enterprise Development Tools, National Gazelles, Women Enterprise Coaching Programs, Incubation Programs, Technology Transfer Fund, Export Development Program, Supplier Development Program, Quality and Standards, Emprotech Program, Basic Entrepreneurial Skills and Development, Entrepreneurship in Schools, and the Cooperatives and Community Public-Private Partnership Program. A comprehensive range of business growth-orientated programs provided by SEDA enables qualifying SMMEs to access other programs and interventions. The program objectives are vast and range from aiming to develop and enhance management competencies of owners and business managers to the sharing of experiences and the exchange of information that is made possible in an environment that is conducive for the establishment of networks. The entrepreneurship of the South African technology community is strongly supported and assisted through a 3-year incubation program designed to strengthen technology commercialization. Projects like the Export Development Program are aimed at developing and generating export-ready small enterprises that are globally competitive and able to grow markets both locally and internationally. Strengthening the performance of supplier firms and enabling them to acquire the skills and capabilities required to make them globally competitive is the aim of the Supplier Development Program. Benefits and advantages are made known to the buying firm and the supplier. This in turn benefits the economy. There are programs that ensure that small businesses have access to quality control and assessment processes. The Emprotech program is based on a unique Harvard University methodology, focusing on behavioral approaches to entrepreneurship. The program develops personal entrepreneurial competencies, PECs, such as opportunity seeking, persistence, goal setting, risk-taking, fulfilling commitments, planning, etc. for participants, while the BESD program is aimed at the transferal of basic business skills to micro business owners and informal traders. Small businesses are a backbone of the country's economy, and as envisaged in the National Development Plan, the sector will enable government to address key challenges of inequality, unemployment, and poverty through growth and development of small businesses and cooperatives.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for continuing being present. I'd like to inform you that I see some of the comments and questions are mainly asking about the presentations, if they would be made available. Indeed, the presentations will be made available on our SARS website, where you can navigate through the small business chain page, where you'll be able to get access to all the presentations for today. And website. However, please be patient with us as our IT team uploads the presentations for everyone's benefit. As we proceed from our program, we have noticed that the presentation by SEDA reminds us that government has made many avenues available to help us in not only the formulation, but also the running of our businesses. Stats, however, do show that most small businesses are unable to be operational after a period of 6 months due to many challenges that they experience. One of them is that they don't get enough support on how to run operations. Most of our businesses on paper, when we develop our business plan, are seen to be profitable and very successful. But when we get into operations, we find that the reality is different. And this is where SEDA comes in with solutions that can help us to run our businesses more effectively and become more successful as small business owners. I encourage each and every one of you to take advantage of these opportunities and to remember to share this information with your peers and society at large. Because of course, it's better when we win together, isn't it? As I had indicated earlier on, we have a special panel of specialists that will facilitate the conversation further. I now invite one of our dynamic and agile presenters, Mashadi Mutwa, to facilitate our Q&A. Mashadi is the manager in the taxpayer services in Northwest region, responsible for the Rustenburg office's branch operations. She's a dedicated service ambassador with 18 years of experience at SARS in various taxpayer engagement roles. Mashadi holds a degree in business leadership from the University of South Africa. Mashadi, I welcome you to the stage.
Thank you, Sipho. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, youth. This is your day. This is your celebration. This is your month. And together, SARS, in partnership with National Treasury and SEDA, came about and say, we need to prepare our youth. And what should we do? So this is the platform for you to get tools to prepare you to participate in our economy. It's very clear, it's not even a mistake, because National Treasury steadily claims that it needs to work in partnership in order to mobilize all the resources in order to improve our livelihood. So today is a good day. So it's a stepping stone for you to be able to participate in the economy. So today I'm not riding alone, I'm riding with a panel of experts, and you should not be afraid. Please participate in all our social at #YourTaxMatters today as a Youth Month celebration. So my panel of experts will be helping me to answer all the questions. So panel members, as I read your name, please switch on your cameras. Yamkela works in our taxpayer engagement. He's got a lot of experience. You'll be able to assist us with the questions that you are posted on our chat. Please be encouraged to post all questions through our email and our chat box. We've got Elena. Elena works in our digital channels where you are phoning and sending all those SMSs for your queries. Elena is part of the expert who are answering all your questions. We've got Nolivuyo. Nolivuyo works in our taxpayer engagement. Also, they are assisting you in walk-ins and telephonic appointments. So I see all your questions are buzzing through our chat and through our emails. Let's get started. Our first question, I have a business as a sole proprietor, but I need to know, do I qualify for any incentive, business incentive, or what incentive should I apply for? Yamkela, take us through.
Thank you for that question, Mashadi. And to answer the question is no, you will not qualify for a small business incentive as you have already received a tax rebate, as I've mentioned what a tax rebate is on the presentation, which is basically a simplified tax discount. However, a sole proprietor can also qualify for turnover tax, provided that you meet the qualifying criteria to register for turnover tax. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamukela. Please note, all the viewers at home, colleagues, please go to our website, SARS website. We've got a web page dedicated to small business. You get all the details that you need to get information, to be informed about the small business. And don't forget SEDA. We've got SEDA. SEDA is very committed, and their vision is saying creating sustainable small business that will be able to compete globally. So it is a commitment. As I said to you today, it's not a mistake. We are here because we've made a commitment to South Africans. The next question is, I'm employed, but I receive additional income as renter. How do I declare that income? Nolivuyo, take us through.
Thank you, Mashadi, for the question. Please remember, it is very important to declare any kind of income, additional income received to SARS. So you will need to declare the employment income and the business income. If you are a sole proprietor, on the ITR 12 on the wizard, when you customize your tax return, select that you have additional income to declare. In addition, please note that we have a provisional tax that must be paid twice a year to avoid having to pay a huge lump sum at the end of the assessment. Thank you.
Thank you, Nolivuyo. Oh, there are a lot of interactive questions that are coming through. Please be encouraged to put your question there. And even if we could not answer your question through this Q&A, all the questions will be answered and posted on our website. Our next question, can my business qualify for employment tax incentive if I've hired my family member? Elena, take us through.
Thank you, Mashadi, for the question. The answer to the question is no. Your company does not qualify for ETI as family members are considered a connected person, as defined in Section 6C of the ETI Act. Thank you, Mashadi.
Thank you very much. You should be encouraged that we've heard from Yamkela that the incentive is encouraged and created by the National Treasury. Please, if you have any more clarity questions or comments, please visit our website and you'll be getting clarity along the line. Our next question. I have a business, but I'm not registered as an employer. I did not deduct a pay-as-you-earn from my employees because they earn little. But they are requesting me to give them IRP5s. How do I do this? Yamkela, take us through.
Once again, thank you for that question, Mashadi. And to give an answer to the question, you don't need to register for pay-as-you-earn if the employees are earning below the tax threshold. However, you can activate a tax type, which is EMP501 on e-filing, but you will use your income tax reference number, which begins with a number 9. And then once it is successfully activated as an EMP501 tax type on e-filing, then you can create the tax certificate for the employees either via e-filing, which will limit you up to 50 certificates, or alternatively, you can use Easy File Employer Program. Thank you, Mashadi.
Mashadi?
As we all note that we cannot have taxpayers coming to our offices at SARS and saying we're requesting IRP5 from SARS. It is the responsibility of the employer to give you your own IRP5. If the employer has more questions, please visit our website, make an appointment to our branches, call our call center so that you can get more details around the issuing of IRP5s. Our next question.
Mashadi?
I want to...
Mashadi? Yes, so much energy. May I ask that we also include Zalisile Nzala from the National Treasury as part of our panel of experts?
Thank you. Can we call on Zalisiwe to be with us, join us from the National Treasury? Thank you very much. We come to our next question. I want to apply for a tax clearance certificate. How do I apply and how much does it cost? Noluvuyo?
Thank you, Mashadi, for the question. All our services received at SARS are free of charge, and you may apply for a tax compliance status via these 3 channels: SARS e-filing, SARS online query system, as well as SARS Mobi app. Thank you.
Thank you, Noluvuyo. Our next question, it says, I recently had an advert about auto-assessment on the radio. What is this auto-assessment all about? Elena, take us through.
Thank you so much for the question, Mashadi. SARS receives data from employers, medical schemes, banks, retirement annuity funds, and others. We then use that data to calculate your tax assessment. When we are satisfied that the data and your tax calculation is correct, we then issue the assessment to you via SARS e-filing or the SARS Mobi app. At the same time, we also send you a message via your preferred communication channel like SMS or email to let you know that your assessment is available on e-filing or the SARS Mobi app and ready for you to view. Thank you. Back to you, Mashadi.
Thank you very much for the answer. Can we just give Zalisiwe just to give us the reason why are we paying tax? Why National Treasury and SARS? Just in one minute. Zalisiwe, take us through.
Thank you so much, Mashadi. Thank you for everyone who is here today. Yeah, the question is very important. You know, government, we require revenue to actually be able to service our social obligations. So the reason why we're paying taxes, we're actually all contributing to the ideals of government so that we can be able to fund our government projects or our government programs. So it is very important that we do that because we are able to build hospitals, we are able to build schools, and we are able to fix the roads, because if we don't have enough of the funds that we require as a government in terms of tax revenue, then we won't be able to do all these things. Thank you so much, Mashadi.
Thank you, Zalisiwe. As you can note, this partnership is not a mistake, as I've mentioned to you. You've seen from Yamkela's presentation, our purpose as SARS, our purpose as National Treasury, our purpose as SEDA. We are joined here as a commitment to you, South African citizens, to say we are here for you. Please do not despair if we did not answer your question during this session. Please post those questions through the email, through the chat. All questions will be answered and posted on all our website. Thank you very much. Thank you. Back to you, Sipho.
Thank you, Mashadi, for the wonderful facilitation. I believe that all of us have learned a thing or two about tax and why we pay tax and some of those pressing questions that we have always been having. I mean, this knowledge that we have now is simplifying tax and making tax easy. You know, I mean, from my side, I think I'm slowly becoming a game changer and I'll be able to be a good ambassador for SARS and for all the reasons why we do the business that we do. One more time, I would like to invite Zalisile Nzala to give us his closing remarks. We are slowly approaching the closure of our business of today, and Zalisile will come and offer us his parting words on the purpose of today and what we can take from here. Zalisile Nzala is a Deputy Director at the Tax and Financial Sector Policy Division of the National Treasury. He has over 15 years of experience in taxation acquired in both the private and public sector. His current role involves advising the Ministry of Finance on the development of new and reviewing of existing tax policy in South Africa. He holds a Master of Public Policy, specializing in economic policy and policy communication, obtained at the Australian National University. He is a recipient of the Australia Award Scholarship and is an alumni of the Crawford School of Public Policy at Australia National University. Zalisile, the platform is yours, man.
Thank you, Program Director, for facilitating today's webinar session. I have to say you've done a great job. Sipho, my job is relatively easy today, and it is for me to give closing remarks. And my task today reminds me of one old man from my village in the Eastern Cape who gave closing remarks in a community gathering and said to everyone who was in the gathering, "Hello, thank you for coming and goodbye." And that was the end for him. So I would say hello to everyone here. Thank you for coming and goodbye. But Program Director, on a serious note, I'm glad that the National Treasury, cooperatively working with SARS and SEDA, is part of this initiative. And for me to come here and talk about tax matters during Youth Month. The month of June is a month of historic landmark in our beloved country. Therefore, it is imperative that we all seek to empower each other as the youth on issues related to our taxes, so that we can understand the meaning and importance of why taxes matter. Sipho, as you would know, there are two things that are certain in life, and that is death and taxes. So, Program Director, whichever way you go, I can tell you now with absolute certainty that all roads lead to taxation. Without further ado, let me take this opportunity to also thank our colleagues from SARS for sharing key insights on tax matters affecting the youth. Also, our colleague from SEDA, thank you for sharing with us the opportunities that our government provides to support youth participation, particularly in business. SEDA plays a key role in improving access to support youth entrepreneurs, a key mandate for small business development. Please contact SEDA so that you can obtain the necessary assistance for your business. To all the youth that is here today, thank you for taking the time to attend today's session. We trust you will continue to grace us with your presence in the near future on similar projects. So watch this space. But what you need to be aware of is that your participation in these kinds of initiatives is very important. Bringing to your doorsteps programs which are meant to strengthen awareness and education on matters related to business and to taxation generally. For example, today we were informed, amongst other things, who can register for VAT and under what circumstances can a taxpayer register as a small business corporation. We learned when does a taxpayer who employs personnel may register employees for PAYE, and that certain taxpayers can register and file for their tax obligations via a turnover tax system. Program Director, SARS has made tax compliance administratively easy these days through digital platforms such as SARS e-filing and the SARS online query system. So I urge the public to make use of digital platforms for individual and company tax obligations. Sipho, as alluded earlier, this initiative is a collaborative effort of the National Treasury, SARS, and SEDA to ensure that youth participation and engagement is achieved. In addition, this is a deliberative, inclusive agenda that seeks to encourage the youth to take part in the mainstream economy and play an active role in creating employment. We are all aware that unemployment remains South Africa's largest policy challenge, together with low growth and high inequality, which are government's key priority areas. Indeed, youth unemployment is a critical component of the overall unemployment challenge, as unemployment is higher among the youth than in any other age group. However, our government effort to curb unemployment is visible through the Employment Tax Incentive, a tax incentive program that is administered by SARS as part of the greater package of initiatives aimed at addressing the social and economic participation challenges facing the youth, but mainly to stimulate employment and to ensure that the youth participate in the formal employment sectors of our economy. To conclude, Program Director, I would like to urge the youth that is here today to please take part in the National Treasury's tax policy process that opens each year in November, where the public is invited to give comments on tax policy issues affecting yourselves and your businesses. It is an open and transparent process where everyone is allowed to participate and to propose changes in our tax law or to propose new tax policy. We need to see more of the youth in these kinds of forums. And I would urge you to please visit the National Treasury website at www.treasury.gov.za so that you can obtain more information on what the National Treasury does. Thank you, Sipho. And most importantly, thank you to the sign language interpreters for a good job done today in spreading our message to the community of persons living with disabilities. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Zalisile, for the wonderful parting words that you have given us. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, business leaders, I see that there were a number of questions that were still answered, but I'm glad that our panel of experts have already responded to some of your concerns. We understand that you might have more questions or more interactions that you might have where you need more clarity on certain issues that have been spoken about. I encourage you to continue to use our different SARS, CEDA, and National Treasury service channels and social media pages and the email that has been provided to you to be able to continue the conversations and get more clarity on the questions that have been answered. Our digital channels have been made available so that life can be easier. Our strategic objective as SARS is to ensure that you find making business with us to be easy. And one of the ways that we want to do that is by making available our digital channels, such as your e-filing on your phone, which is via your app, or on your browser, via your internet or desktop. So we encourage you to engage and use those platforms that have been provided to you to engage with us further, and also use the email address provided. Also, in terms of the presentation is currently live on YouTube. You will be able to access the full recording on our SARS TV channel on YouTube, where you may be able to review the content given. And for the presentation, they will also be available on the SARS website under the Small Business tab. So please look out for that information, as it will be uploaded shortly after this event. Colleagues, business leaders, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the closure of our very, very beautiful event. We'd like to thank each and every one of you who has taken time away from their busy schedule to be present with us today. Indeed, there is no better time than today for you to gain new knowledge. And as young people, just like the youth of 1976, we also have our own generational mission, which I believe it's that we want economic freedom in our lifetime. So indeed, through taxation, through opportunities from CEDA, and through National Treasury, ensuring that the economy is open and inclusive to all, I believe that we will be able to achieve this generational mission that has been given unto us. So I employ and encourage you that continue to be good business people, to be ethical in the work that you do. And of course, Where you see that government is lacking in terms of social programs, do stretch a hand to those within your community, uplift your community so that we do not rise alone, but we rise as a unit. As the issues of unemployment, underdevelopment, and inequality have been spoken about, us both as government, as business people, we have a very important role to play in partnering, in ensuring that we uplift the community at large. One more time, I encourage you that as you exit this call, kindly complete our survey that will pop up as you exit, that will ask you the relevant information on trainings in future that you might need, so that we can offer you a service that is tailored to you and your needs. Once again, thank you, goodbye, Nhambe kahle, bye-bye.
Fellow South Africans, I'm addressing you.
All your years of paying tax, you still wonder, why does it matter?
It is true that we are facing a great emergency.
It matters now more than ever. It matters to those who are exposed to harm to keep us away from it. The ones that leave behind all that they love. Your tax matters to them. Those who spend endless hours standing on their feet to care for others. It matters to those who are always at the heart of any crisis and our future generations. It matters to those who put so much love into giving selflessly to each and every family living on the breadline. It matters to all of us. To all taxpayers, pay your fair share. Do it for your nation. Your tax matters.